In today's video, we are going to be talking about the vagina, the downstairs area. I'm going to be telling you guys the different types of vagina odor or smell. These types of videos are not really done in this part of the world, so I'm just taking this upon myself to make this video. Okay, whenever you are on your period, do you perceive any smell? Like, is it just me, or do you also perceive this smell that is just off? I know I'm not the only one. If you actually have this same smell, if you experience this same smell, please let me know down in the comment section. So guys, the blood that comes out, the blood that sheds during your period, like the uterine lining that sheds during your period, like, you know, blood and tissue comes out of you during your period. Now that blood contains iron, and iron is a metal, and that is why you have that metallic scent whenever you are on your period. This one, nobody told me. I had to like Google it. I was like, okay, so this is the reason why my downstairs area has that metallic smell. Like, they call it coppery scent, coppery, or like a penny. Okay, like, you know how just imagine like a jar of pennies. You know the way it smells, like it has this metallic smell. So many times in the past, people have said period blood does not smell. It is the pad that make the blood smell. So many things, until I made this research and I found out that it is not the pad that makes the blood smell. It is actually the blood that has the smell. But this smell usually goes away right after your period. The smell will just disappear. And another reason why you can also have this metallic or coppery smell, it is because whenever you have sex, like if you are sexually active, semen has like a very high pH. So semen would change the pH of the vagina, the pH of the downstairs area. The semen will change the pH, and that is why you are going to also perceive that smell. But after you wash up and do your, you know, your hygiene, your little hygiene routine, everything is going to be fine. Another reason why you might experience this smell is also through sex, especially if the sex is quite vigorous, or you are very dry down there, like you have vaginal dryness. So you might experience light bleeding, and this light bleeding would, you know, would bring about this metallic scent. Okay, blood and metallic scent, like both of them, they go hand in hand. So whenever, you know, you have vigorous sex and you experience light bleeding due to vaginal dryness, and you know, this dryness would cause cuts or scrape around your vagina. So that blood that comes out, that little, you know, blood that comes out, the light bleeding, you can also experience that smell because it is blood, and blood contains iron. Like, it makes so much sense right now. Like, I'm just like, okay, so this is why you know, that place smells like that. Second one we're going to be talking about today is the fishy odor. So have you ever experienced that type of fishy odor? Now, this fishy odor is not fresh fish smell. This one is rotten fish smell. You know, when fish is decaying. Yes, that is the type of smell that I'm talking about. So if you have that type of rotten fish smell, it can be two things. It can either be bacterial vaginosis or one other STI they call, is it trichomoniasis? I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to have the name on the screen. I have forgotten the pronounce or how to pronounce it, but I'm going to have the name on the screen. This bacterial vaginosis actually comes with burning sensation, discharge. Yes, the discharge can either be white or gray in color, and also it can come with serious itchiness. You know, that kind of itchiness that it will be itching you. The itchiness is not good, but then again, it's kind of sweeting you, and you're just like, you keep on scratching and scratching until everywhere is in a mess. If this fishy odor comes with yellowish or greenish discharge, it can be that STI I talked about earlier, which is trichomoniasis, something like that. Okay, and this infection is actually very treatable, which is one of the STIs that can be treated just using antibiotics. Okay, so if you notice any of this discharge, you want to make sure you see your gynecologist so that medications can be prescribed to you. It is also a very common infection that women experience, and it is just as a result of an a change in the pH of the vagina. So now let's move on to the third one. And the third one, let me talk about one that is normal. Yes, this one is the musky scent, or should I say, yes, musky smell. This musky scent is very normal. Musky in sense just means like sweat. And in case you don't know, there are sweat glands that are in our vagina, and your vagina can tend to like sweat, just like your armpits, like you sweat on your armpits. You know that kind of BO, body odor, that your armpits produce? That is the same kind of BO that your vagina would produce. And this, I experience it a lot, especially when I exercise. Like I sweat everywhere, even my panties, like there is sweat. So it creates that body odor, it creates that odor stuff like your armpits. Yes, so this one is very normal. It happens when you have exercised, and you're sweating everywhere, you're sweating on your vagina, and you can actually produce this smell. This one is very normal. So this next one I'm going to talk about is fermented smell, like bread. Yes, it's like sweet, but then it is like fermented smell, just like bread, like something like bread. This one is yeast infection. Now this yeast infection actually happens when the normal amount of yeast in our vagina, it actually overgrows. Yes, because there is yeast bacteria in our vagina, but when it overgrows, that is when it would cause yeast infection. It also comes with discharge that looks like cottage cheese. I actually shared this in one of my videos before. It comes with cottage cheese discharge. I'm going to have the discharge on the screen. Do you know the bad thing about yeast infection? Yeast infection actually grows when you take too much sugar. Yes, if you are someone that loves to take a lot of sugar, you want to make sure you reduce your sugar intake, because yeast infection loves sugar. Excess sugar in your body would make the yeast infection to just be growing and growing. That is why doctors normally they'll tell you, if you have this type of infections, they'll usually say to reduce your sugar intake. And also, another thing that you should know is that if your vagina is always wet, it can also cause overgrowth of yeast infection. This is for people that exercise, like you just go to the gym, you have lift weights, you have done press up, you are now the mama of gym, and now it's time for you to go home. You stay in the gym, you start gisting with all your friends, you don't go home to take a shower. Yeast infection is just calling your name, like it's dialing your number, because yeast infection loves to, like, they grow in warm and wet environments. That is something that you should know about yeast infection. Like that bacteria grows in wet environments. So anytime you are done with the gym, you know that your vagina is also, like I said earlier, it has sweat glands, so it's going to produce sweat. Now that sweat is warm, that sweat has moisture, so the yeast is going to grow in that type of environment. So that is why you don't need to have wetness down there at all. Whenever you use the toilet or the bathroom, you want to make sure you wipe, like you want to make sure you dab yourself with tissue, because warm and wet environments is a perfect breeding ground for yeast infection. Like they would grow so well in wet environments, but you can treat them by just taking either antifungal medication or antibiotics. One of these two will treat your yeast infection. And another thing that I want to say is that you guys take antibiotics when necessary. A lot of us girls, women, we have abused antibiotics. If we just notice any little smell or little discharge, we have gone to the pharmacy. Okay, pharmacist, give me antibiotics, give me the strongest one. You guys, taking antibiotics when necessary, it is very important, because these same antibiotics that helps to kill bacteria can also make yeast bacteria to grow. So always make sure you take antibiotics when necessary. Okay, don't just any small thing down there, if you just perceive one smell that is just maybe normal sweat smell, you have gone and buy antibiotics, and you taking antibiotics unnecessarily would kill beneficial vagina bacteria, because there is good bacteria in our vagina. Okay, you taking all these medications, self-medicating and taking it anyhow would kill the good bacteria. So you have to make sure you do everything with sense. So guys, an odor that is similar to chemical smell, or should I say like bleach smell or ammonia, if you're maybe like you smell your panties down there and you are perceiving this ammonia-ish smell or like chemical smell, the smell is actually very, very normal, because this is due to urine. Okay, especially when you don't dry yourself very well down there after using the toilet, like after going to pee. If you don't dry yourself very well down there, you're going to experience this ammonia smell, this chemical kind of smell. So this type of smell is very, very normal. It is nothing to worry about. I normally experience this type of odor sometimes, especially when I don't dry well after peeing. So if you experience this chemical or ammonia type of smell, it is a normal type of smell. Okay, and it is very, very common. I feel like everybody, we kind of experience this like once in a while. It is normal and you don't have to do anything to it. And another thing that you should note is that if your urine smells so strongly of ammonia, because urine is a byproduct of ammonia, which is called, urine contains a byproduct of ammonia called urea. So if your urine smells so strongly of ammonia, it can mean that you are severely dehydrated. So you want to make sure you take lots of water so that your urine doesn't smell so ammonia-ish, if there is a word like that. So guys, let's talk about rotten type of smell. Yes, this one is as if something has died. Like something is dead down there and like something is decaying. Yes, this one is usually for people that use tampons. Okay, if you use tampons and maybe you forget to remove your tampons from your vagina, you can experience this type of smell, because that tampon will start to decay inside you and it would produce that rotten smell. Like, I'm so surprised that, because when I googled these things, I saw that people actually forget tampons in their vagina, and I'm like, how is it possible that you forget a tampon in your vagina? But I guess like things happen. So if you have this type of rotten smell down there, like as if something has died or something is decaying, do not panic. Just go and see your gynecologist. It is, or it might be that if you are someone that uses tampon or you use toilet paper, because some people actually use toilet paper in the form of tampon and then they insert it inside their vagina. Yes, I know some people that do that thing. So if you have this type of smell, it might mean that the toilet paper that you have used or the tampon you have used, you forgot to bring them out, and now it is starting to decay inside you. But it can actually be treated, so it is nothing to be afraid of. You just need to go and see your gynecologist. But this smell, it is not normal at all. This smell is absolutely abnormal. So guys, let's talk about another one that is normal, and this one is the pungent smell. Is it pungent or pungent? Pungent, I think it's pungent. Yes, pungent smell. So you know, your foods like your garlic and your onion, they are very strong and flavorful foods. They are like pungent food. They call them pungent foods, garlic and onion. So if you take a lot of garlic and if you take a lot of onion, you can actually experience this smell. And I know I have experienced this smell several times, because you guys, I put garlic in everything. Tell me what I don't put. I put garlic in my noodles, in my spaghetti, in my stew. I put garlic everywhere, and I put onions. I love onions a lot, so I put a lot of onions in my food. So at times I tend to smell like these foods down there. Yes, if you take a lot of garlic and onion, your vagina is going to smell like garlic and onion, because these foods are pungent food. They are very strong, and it can make your vagina fluids smell like that. And you guys, this food, this onion and garlic, these foods tend to be excreted by our sweat glands all over our body, including our vulva, because like I said earlier, our downstairs area also has like sweat glands. Okay, so these foods, they tend to be excreted by these sweat glands, and that is why sometimes you might notice that your armpits or your vaginal fluids or your vagina itself is smelling like garlic and onion, but it is completely normal. You don't have to stop putting garlic and onion in your food because of downstairs area. What you just have to do is make sure you are taking care of the place, make sure your hygiene is top notch and you have nothing to worry about. So guys, the last smell we're going to be talking about is the fermented smell. Yes, this one is almost similar to the yeast infection one. Yes, the yeast infection one kind of smells like sweets. It has this sweet and sourish kind of smell, but this one smells fermented. Now this smell is absolutely normal. It is not abnormal at all, and it's just because like you experience this smell because your vagina is actually kind of slightly acidic. Okay, it has a pH of 3.8 to 4.5. So your vagina has to be slightly acidic so that this bad bacteria will not grow in it. So whenever you experience this fermented smell, you have nothing to worry about because your vagina is just like doing its thing, trying to keep the bad bacteria at bay. So you don't have to worry about any of these things, as long as the fermented smell doesn't come with cottage cheese discharge and they are not having itchiness and dryness, then everything is fine. This fermented smell is just normal. It is just because of the acidity of the vagina. That is why you can have that type of smell. You guys, I think that is all for my different vagina odors and the rest. Normally you are not supposed to be worried about what your vagina smells like, except you notice that something is off. That is why you always have to be self-aware. You always have to be self-aware. Okay, how am I smelling like today? If you notice any discharge that you have not seen before and you notice like a funky odor, just like watch it and see. If it's like that for a few days and you are experiencing itchiness, don't even waste any time. Go and see your doctor, because if you don't treat it, this can lead to infertility, which is very, very bad. So as you notice any infection, don't just leave it there. Don't just sit down. I don't even think anybody that has infection will just rest, because sometimes this infection comes with itchiness and you just have to go and see the doctor. So don't delay going to see the doctor. Don't delay going to see your pharmacist. You want to make sure you are treating these things so that it doesn't develop into something very, very bad. Okay, and like I mentioned in my last hygiene video, I told you guys about probiotic supplements and how probiotic supplements are living microorganisms that helps to improve the good bacteria that is down there. If you have not gotten a probiotic supplement, especially if you are the type that always have infections, you want to make sure you start taking probiotic supplements. Yes, start taking probiotic supplements. Probiotic supplements are just like, they contain good bacteria which will help to fight the bad bacteria that is down there. Like, it will not make the bad bacteria to overgrow or overstep its boundaries. So start taking probiotic supplements. I don't really know of any Nigerian brand, but I'm going to try and make research, and I'll put some on the screen. The ones that you can find in Nigeria, you can actually find them, especially if you are having infection, recurrent infections. Start taking probiotics instead of you popping antibiotic pills every single day. Just start taking probiotic supplements. It would really, really help you. It would help to clear the vaginal tract of all those bad bacteria. Like, this is something that you have to do, especially if you are always having recurrent infections. Okay, this is something that you should just do. So guys, that is all for today's video. I'm going to try to make these hygiene videos more often. I'm really, really passionate about hygiene. I've always been so passionate about hygiene and all of that stuff. So I'm going to try and make this type of videos, because I noticed that in this part of the world, not many people make this type of videos, and I just want to educate women and girls out there. I just want to educate like people, like, yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you for watching this video today. If you did enjoy this video, do well to give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you also have any video idea that you'd want me to make, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next one. Until then, bye guys.